Since the establishment of the State of Israel, most Arab countries, and certainly the United Arab Emirates, have stubbornly practiced a state of belligerency with Israel that became known as the three no's. No to peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, no negotiations with Israel. And after decades of naysaying, the Emirates are saying yes to negotiations, yes to recognition, and yes to peace. Let's look closely into this historic and groundbreaking event. Shalom and welcome to the Shaliach Show. Well, the sand lines of Arabian Peninsula are being redrawn, and the United Arab Emirates becomes the first Gulf state to fully normalize relations with Israel. This historic agreement was brokered by the current US administration, and it is a result of lengthy discussions and years of under-the-radar cooperation between Israel and the Emirates. The deal will encompass opening reciprocal embassies, establishing direct flights from Tel Aviv to Abu Dhabi, joint ventures and investments in security, medical research, and telecommunications. There is a catch though. The normalization is tied to suspending Israel's plan to apply sovereignty or annexation in the West Bank. Suspending or stopping? If you ask the Crown Prince and the de facto ruler of the Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, it is definitely stopping. If you defer to the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu said that he was asked by the White House to postpone the annexation for now, but there is no change in his plans to apply sovereignty over Judea and Samaria with full coordination with the US. If you ask the US administration, the annexation is off the table, which was later clarified by the US ambassador to Israel, Friedman. He said, off the table, but not off the table permanently. In the Middle East, all these statements can be correct depending on the timeline of future events. The president of Egypt and the leaders of Bahrain and Oman have already expressed their support of the agreement. But note this, Egypt and Jordan also have peace treaties with Israel, but their citizens are generally hostile towards Israel and the Jews. Emiratis seem to be generally cheerful about the agreement. One of them tweeted the UAE and Israel international calling codes, which turned out to be symbolically consecutive, 971 and 972, and a heart emoji. Israeli pop star Omer Adam received an invitation from the UAE leadership to perform in the Emirates, and a Saudi blogger, Mohammed Saud, called the Prime Minister Netanyahu to express his regards in Hebrew.
It's too bad you cannot vote.
After that, he sang an Israeli peace song in Hebrew in a duet with an Israeli journalist, Yanki Farber. Shalom and salam. The Palestinians, however, are fumed over the normalization and recalled their ambassador to the Emirates. Palestinian crowd stepped on the cutouts of the Emirates flag on the sacred Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The terrorist organization Hamas, controlling the Gaza Strip, called the agreement treacherous stab in the back and launched rockets at Israeli civilians. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib tweeted, "We won't celebrate Netanyahu for stealing land he already controls in exchange for a sweetheart business deal." She is actually right. Israel is already controlling this land according to the agreement with the Palestinians, for which their leader Arafat received a Nobel Peace Prize. But that's a tangent. Turkey threatens to cut diplomatic ties with United Arab Emirates and to shut its embassy over this landmark deal. This is the most bizarre response, as Turkey itself does maintain diplomatic ties with Israel, including Turkish embassy in Tel Aviv and multi-million commercial ties. Former Chief of Police of Dubai has responded in a tweet that all Emirati merchants must transfer their commercial relations from Turkey to Israel. Most Israelis rejoiced to hear this miraculous news. Tel Aviv even featured UAE and Israeli flags on the city hall. Emirati recognition of Israel solidifies the shift in perception of Israel from a source of instability to the regional source of strength, security, and peace. UAE is a major player in the energy market, and Israel can now serve as a strategic portal, connecting the Gulf countries with Europe via the East Mediterranean pipeline from Israel to Greece and to Europe. That said, not all Israelis are thrilled with the deal. You see, many Muslim countries had and still have deep official ties with Israel. But historically, there is a price for making these relations public and official, because to offset internal opposition to ties with Israel, countries like Egypt, Turkey, and Jordan are forced to take a harsh and militant stance on the Jewish state. When the cooperation is secretive, Israel enjoys the substance anyway, without paying the price for the packaging, such as, embassies, press conferences, and social media euphoria. And that is why postponing the sovereignization of Israeli-controlled parts of Judea and Samaria is also seen by some Netanyahu's voters as a deal-breaker. From their standpoint, the normalization should be viewed strictly in an Iranian context, and therefore the Palestinian issue should not be included in this equation. Be it as it may, the agreement does create a regional ripple effect, and more Muslim countries are speculated to open diplomatic relations with Israel. This is a new kind of a peace deal for Israel. Instead of land for peace, Israel is trading peace for peace. Peace from a position of strength.